Hey, night owls. Welcome back to Midnight Questions, where we explore the mysteries of the world, the mind, and beyond. Tonight, we're diving into a question that could change the global economy forever. What if the US dollar loses its crown as the world's reserve currency? What would that mean for the United States? For the world? And is this something that could actually happen? Or just another economic conspiracy? Let's find out. First, let's get one thing straight. What does it mean for a currency to be the world's reserve currency? A reserve currency is the money that most countries use for international trade, financial transactions, and holding economic reserves. Right now, that currency is the US dollar, and it has been since the end of World War II. Over 58% of global foreign exchange reserves are held in US dollars. Almost all oil transactions worldwide are done in dollars, hence the term petrodollar. Most global debt is in US dollars, meaning countries rely on it for borrowing and trade. So, in simple terms, the dollar is the king of global finance. But could that change? The dollar didn't always rule the world. In the 19th century, it was the British pound. But after World War II, the US became the strongest economy and created the Bretton Woods Agreement, making the dollar the foundation of global trade. Even after the US dropped the gold standard in 1971, the dollar kept its dominance, thanks to US military power, global trust in the American economy, and the petrodollar system. But here's the big question: can this dominance last forever? Right now, some major forces are challenging the dollar's dominance. Let's look at a few big ones. US debt and inflation. The US owes over $34 trillion in national debt. If inflation keeps rising, global trust in the dollar could weaken. The rise of China and the digital yuan. China is pushing its own currency, the yuan, and making deals to trade with countries without using the dollar. De-dollarization movements. Countries like Russia, China, and even some in the Middle East are reducing their dependence on the dollar by trading in other currencies. The BRICS Challenge. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are trying to create a new currency for global trade, directly competing with the dollar. So yeah, the pressure is building. But does this mean the dollar is doomed? If the dollar lost its reserve currency status, the effects would be massive. Here's what could happen. Weaker US economy. The US would lose the ability to print money freely without causing major inflation. Higher prices for Americans. Everything from gas to imported goods would become more expensive. Less global influence for the US. Losing the dollar's dominance means less political and economic power for America. More economic uncertainty. The world could shift into a multi-currency system, making global trade more complicated. But here's the thing: this wouldn't happen overnight. The dollar is still deeply entrenched in the global system, and no currency is ready to replace it completely yet. So, will the US dollar actually lose its global dominance? The answer is not anytime soon. The US economy is still the largest. The US still has the biggest financial markets, strongest military, and deepest economic influence. No clear alternative. The Chinese yuan is growing, but China's strict economic policies make it hard to trust for global trade. The dollar is too embedded. Most global trade is already built on the dollar. Changing that takes decades. That being said, the dollar's power is weakening. If the US keeps piling on debt, and if countries continue to move away from it, we could see a new financial era in the future. So, here's the big takeaway: the dollar is still the world's reserve currency. For now. But history shows that no empire lasts forever, and the same could be true for the dollar. The question is, if and when the shift happens, will the world be ready for what comes next? Now, I have a question for you. Do you think the US dollar will stay dominant for the next 50 years? Or do you see another currency taking its place? Let's talk in the comments. And hey, if you love diving into deep, mind-bending questions like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, because here at Midnight Questions, curiosity never sleeps.